Why can't we be friends? 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 I seen you around for a long, long time. I really remembered when you drank my wine. Why can't we be friends? 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 I seen you walking down in Chinatown. I called out to you, but you could not look around. Why can't we be friends? 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 Welcome, welcome, welcome to another exciting episode of the Unrelenting Alchemist, all spiritual all the time. So yesterday I read a chapter from my book, The Sophian Way, which is in Amazon stores. And today I'm going to go ahead and read a chapter from my other book, which is known as Transcendence, which is also in the Amazon stores. It's about 220 pages. And it's a very interesting book. And I'm going to be reading to you from chapter 11, which is called Receiving Signs. So I hope that you enjoy. Spiritual and neural training can heighten intuitive receptivity. This receptivity is not merely an abstract spiritual concept, but a physiological reality rooted in the plasticity of the brain and the sensitivity of the nervous system and the energetic field of human consciousness. Practices that cultivate receptivity are not passive. They are sculpting the very architecture of how one perceives, receives, and interprets symbolic input from the universe. Modern neuroscience shows that neural pathways adapt and reorganize through repetitive focus. Practices like meditation, breath work, and prayer alter the default mode network and shift dominant brainwave patterns from beta to alpha or even theta. This shift increases access to the internal and intuitive information while reducing the overactivity of critical analysis and ego-based filtering. We have meditation, which enhances gray matter density in the prefrontal cortex, and it decreases amygdala reactivity. This allows one to remain calm and open to subtle impressions. We have dream journaling, which activates the hippocampal and temporal regions responsible for memory consolidation and symbolic mapping. Over time, recurring patterns can emerge. We also have ritual and prayer, which stimulate the limbic system, especially the anterior cingulate cortex, fostering emotional resonance with sacred intention. We have fasting and sensory withdrawal, which reduces reliance on external stimuli and amplifies sensitivity to the body's subtle inner sensations and intuitive messages. We also have sound and mantra, which engages the vagus nerve and auditory cortex, turning perception to harmonic frequencies associated with peace, coherence, and spiritual alignment. Each of these practices tunes the instrument of perception, calibrating the human system to receive nonverbal, symbolic, or energetic forms of communication. We also have the inner receiver. Just as a radio must be tuned to the correct frequency to receive a signal, the human being must quiet internal noise to perceive divine messaging. Emotional clutter, stress, and digital overstimulation jam the signal. Receptivity emerges from coherence when heart, breath, body, and intention align. Heart coherence breathing allows us to practice rhythmic breathing while focusing on the heart, and it generates electromagnetic harmony detectable in brainwave synchronization. We have nature immersion. The Earth's natural electromagnetic field resonates with alpha and theta brainwaves, enhancing intuitive clarity. We have silence practice. Prolonged silence sharpens perception and quiets the default mode network, allowing intuitive insight to surface. We have chakra or energy body tuning. Engaging with ancient energetic maps, whether through Reiki, Qigong, or chakra meditation, aligns the subtle bodies to receive multidimensional input. So let's talk about attunement. Many traditions have also developed sacred technologies, which are combinations of posture, breath, sound, visualization, and intention, to increase one's ability to receive signs. These practices open the subtle body, the etheric, the astral, the causal, to impressions from beyond the material realm. For example, Tibetan Tumo. Fire breath ignites inner heat and spiritual receptivity. Yogic mudra and mantra. Specific gestures and syllables direct prana to subtle centers. Kabbalistic pathworking. Visualizing Sephiroth and symbolic paths trains the imagination for divine dialogue. Shamanic drumming. This induces theta states and opens portals of symbolic perception. These are not placebo effects. They demonstrate the entrainment of the brain and our energy systems to altered states where intuition and prophetic insight can become natural. So let's work on our intention. Receptivity is not passive. It responds to intention. Setting a clear sacred intent opens neural and energetic pathways. Asking, please guide me, please show me the sign, or help me to see the truth activates expectation and attention, two powerful forces that filter incoming perception. When one sets an intention, the reticular activating system, or RAS, in the brain begins to highlight relevant cues. What was once noise becomes signal. What was once random becomes a pattern. This is the core mechanism behind noticing signs, synchronicities, and spiritual symbols. Interpreting signs. Receiving is only half the process. Interpretation completes the loop. Each person must develop their symbolic language. While some signs are cross-cultural, doves, serpents, and light, others are deeply personal. A child's toy in the street may mean nothing to one person and everything to another. So what are techniques for interpretation? First, we have symbolic journaling. Record the sign, record the time, record the emotional state and any intuitive impressions. Meditative reflection. Enter a relaxed state and ask, what is this trying to show me? Compare with archetypes. Use symbolic dictionaries or dream interpretation guides. Prayer or divination. Seek confirmation through sacred tools, in other words, tarot, I Ching, or runes. This interpretive phase activates the symbolic brain and draws on both emotion and intuition. It is less about logic and more about resonance. Let's go into the ethics. To receive is to listen, but not every signal is divine. Some come from trauma patterns. Some come from fears or collective unconscious. Discernment is key here. Ask yourself, this message, is it life-affirming or is it fear-based? Does it bring clarity or confusion? Does it align with my highest self and my core values? Sacred signs will often carry a sense of quiet certainty, resonance, and calm conviction. They may be challenging, but never chaotic. They guide rather than control. So how do we integrate this? Well, the ultimate goal is not to live in a perpetual mystical fog, but to bring the messages into grounded action. If you receive a sign to rest, then rest. If you feel guided to speak up, then speak. The brain must translate the intuitive impulse into a physical action. This is how neurofeedback solidifies spiritual intuition into embodied wisdom. Over time, receptivity becomes a natural state, not a special one. The whole life becomes a dialogue between the soul and the world. The body becomes an oracle, the heart a compass, the brain a sacred receiver. And so let's talk about our antenna. Receiving signs is not luck, it is training. It is spiritual neuroscience. It is the outcome of preparing the inner temple to hear, see, and to feel. It's about aligning the biology, the intention, and the attention towards sacred presence. Every sign received and honored rewires the mind for more. The universe speaks in symbols, and those symbols await a prepared mind. By shaping the self into a vessel of attunement, we walk through life not as strangers, but as conversants in a great divine dialogue. The act of receiving becomes an act of devotion, of participation, and of mystical embodiment. This is the way of the intuitive mystic. It is open, it is attentive, and is anchored in the sacred frequencies of the universe. That concludes our chapter on receiving signs. Those were pages 144 through 150 of my book, Transcendence, which is available in the Amazon stores. I thank you for listening today. Remember that you are blessed, you are chosen, because you chose to be here. Your soul took up a contract, and you have a mission to move forward with. Walk forward knowing heaven is behind you, and that your ancestors and angels are to the sides of you. Thanking you every time for tuning into these episodes. This is another exciting episode of the Unrelenting Alchemist. Until next time, please, my collective, walk wisely, walk bravely, and when the dark calls, answer not with fear, but with fire and light. Take care.
And if I don't see you, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. I love you.